Today I'll be showing you a small presentation on how to retain memory, especially long-term memory, according to Quran. I believe there are four very significant verses in the Quran which talks about and depicts how to retain memory, especially long-term memory, and Allah Almighty actually taught Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to how to retain memory for a long time. So I'll be showing you a small presentation, and before I do that, I'll like to recite those verses.
لا تحرك به لسانك لتعجل به إن علينا جمعه وقرآنه فإذا قرأناه فاتبع قرآنه ثم إن علينا بيانه.
So those verses are in Surah Al-Qiyamah, chapter number 75, verses 16 to 19. Do not rush your tongue trying to memorize a revelation of the Quran. It is certainly upon us to make you memorize and recite it. So once we have recited a revelation through Jibreel, follow its recitation closely. Then it is surely upon us to make it clear to you. So Allah Almighty actually was teaching Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, how to memorize the Quran for a long time. So these first two verses are very significant. Do not rush your tongue trying to memorize the Quran. It is certainly upon us to make you memorize and recite it. Whenever you are trying to learn or memorize something from your course or curriculum, one issue we face to this day is that on the 11th hour we start worrying and when we start worrying about what we are learning, we start reciting our course very fastly. So that is exactly what Prophet Muhammad was going through. So Allah was revealing revelation and Prophet Muhammad was worrying that what if I forget something. So he started reciting it quickly, and Allah Almighty said, no, this is not the way to memorize it. What's the way? Step number 1, relax your mind. Don't recite it too fast with the worry that you may not retain everything with time. It is actually counterproductive, right? One cannot memorize in peace if the mind is preoccupied with worries and other things. So first step is to relax your mind. Don't preoccupy it with worries or other things, or you may not be able to learn it, right? Relax your mind. Don't rush your tongue. Next verse. So once we have recited a revelation, so first is relax your mind. Second part is recite it slowly. Recite it slowly. This word I have added slowly, it's in connection with the previous verses. That instead of reciting it quickly, recite it slowly. Reciting something activates sense of speech and hearing. Recite it slowly as you are able to grasp the meaning while reciting. One thing often happens whenever we are opening a book and we are reading the book only by our eyes. No, it is better practice not just to read it with our eyes but also with our tongues. Why? Because then your sense of speech becomes activated, your sense of hearing becomes activated as well. So all three senses works in tandem then: sight, speech and hearing. This helps in retaining memory more. So the first step was to relax your mind. Second step is to recite it slowly. And there is also a hadith where Hafsa radiallahu ta'ala anhu reported that she used to see Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, reciting the surah slowly and distinctly in such a way that every word of the verse you could distinct it from the other word. So once you recite something slowly, so while you are saying the words, while you are saying those words slowly, you are also able to grasp the meaning And that's why one of the skills among the speakers you may have noticed is that they always deliver speeches slowly. Why? Because when you deliver a speech slowly, the audience, it becomes easier for the audience to grasp the meaning as well. So the third step is to act upon it. Do what you have learned. Translating theoretical knowledge into practical acts helps in activating all the senses, thereby retaining what you recited. One of the problems with our curriculum around the world is that only theoretical knowledge is practiced and not translated into practical acts. So what you have learned, try to bring that thing into practice. When you try to bring what you have learned into practice, you are able to retain that for a long time. Why? Because you again activate all the senses, sense of touch as well now, right? So sight, hearing, touching, all senses become activated again, and you retain that thing for a long time. So third step is to act upon what you have learned. And the final step, then it is surely upon us to explain it, is to explain what you have learned, explain it to others, teach it to others. After reciting, you act upon it, and after you have acted upon it, then explain it to others, teach it to others. Explaining it to others helps in reminding what you have learned. Explaining helps in activating all senses again, speech, hearing. It also encourages others to ask questions about it, thereby helping long-term retention. So these are 4 steps, 4 very beautiful steps in which Allah Almighty actually taught Prophet Muhammad how to retain memory, how to retain what you have learned. And that is why Prophet Muhammad became the first ever Hafiz of the Quran, and the entire tradition then followed. So these 4 steps you can apply to anything, any science, any knowledge, and trust me, you will be able to retain it, what you have learned, for a long time. And with that, assalamu alaikum.